Okay. What now? Vikings?
Are you a proper Viking now after your Icelandic trip?
Well, I like to think I am, but I mean, I've drank the ale. I've taken in the scenes. I've walked where the Northmen walked. You know, I didn't get a signed paper, but what more do I need? I would say that I'm
Just
close.
you're close.
I'm close.
How was the experience where maybe it was super light outside at like 11 o'clock at night? Did you have a lot of that or no?
Well, the sun didn't go down until about midnight, and then it was only down for like a couple hours. Um, it was just like when it got late, it got like just past dusk. Like the sun wasn't up, but it wasn't dark. It was kind of nice. I mean, the blinds,
It was amazing. Yeah,
even if you don't have blackout curtains, you don't need them. Like you just kind of give a little bit of a shade over. Unless you need pitch dark to fall asleep in, which I would hope that you don't because that sounds really restricting.
yeah.
Um, it's totally fine, no effect. Actually, I quite liked it because I didn't feel like it's like I felt safe walking around every street. Not that it's a dangerous place. It's not. I think it's inherently not, but Reykjavik. But yeah, I felt good about it. Like if I was on a an empty street and it was dark outside, even if I walked that street 1,000 times, I'm like, I can't see around every corner. Like I don't. Yeah, I've lost one of my senses. But with this, it was quite nice. It was like any old time.
It's kind of a weird thing that's really, well, throughout the history of mankind,
Uh oh! Wow,
light,
we're
light,
going way back.
light and dark is just, that is good and bad, light, dark. Like that's the trope for all eternity. You know what I mean? Like when it's light outside and you can see the sun, you can see everything, everything's great. And when it's dark outside, it's a completely different vibe, and it's not a good one.
You're
So
absolutely right. I mean, there's a reason that people sleep when it's dark.
yeah, yeah, exactly. There's nothing else to do.
But
It's funny that.
yeah, God,
Well, I was just gonna say I know exactly what you're going through because having been to Alaska, now we were on the same either the longitude or latitude. I can't remember nowadays which one's which, but we were on the same plane, and so it was kind of cool to share that experience with you now in different different experiences, but the same experience.
I love a shared experience. It's the
Isn't it
best.
great?
Lat
Yeah.
fat. So there you go. Latitude
Uh,
is horizontal. Um,
Horizontal. All right. So we were the same latitude.
correct.
All
If you want
right.
to get really crazy, yes, light and dark has been a part of the human condition forever. But it's only the construction and the biology of our eyes, how we take in light, that makes us need or prefer light, because we can't see in the dark. But we are just one creature, and there are
Right.
many creatures
Yeah.
that it's quite the opposite. Well, not actually. I don't know anybody that I can't think of many animals that can't see in the light. It's more like you can either see in the light and you can see in the dark, or you it's equal both ways, or you can only see during the light. You know what I'm saying? Like and owls can see during the day, but they can see just as well at night. Same with dogs. Like dogs don't perceive light and dark the same as us. But anyway, I think about that a lot of the time with like colors too. Colors, you know,
Yeah.
someone we call people colorblind. Well, they're not really colorblind. They're just their eyes are set up differently than the majority of people. There's nothing wrong. Oh, there goes the car, and everybody heard that. But
It wasn't
anyway,
too loud. It was fine.
but the only reason we say something across the room is red is because the way the light's hitting our little cones and shit, our rods and cones, that makes it red. That's
Rods and
not
cones.
red. It's not actually red.
Your red could be very different than my red if we switch like beings, you know what I mean?
Right, but if
But
I,
it's the differentiation and the
the
categorization of
what?
color. The
There you
differentiation
go.
and categorization of okay, I said that. I might have I said it. That's not very nice. But it's the differentiation and categorization of color that makes it's distinct. That the colorblind people can't do that. They can't differentiate. So that's why they're colorblind. Who knows if the true green and the true reds are the same across humans because we can only ever identify our own experience. You know.
That's right. That's exactly right. But I was saying that like a red object, the object itself is not necessarily, it's not red. It's not anything. It's if we couldn't see, if there was no light, it is no color. It just exists.
That's right.
Love it. So Baker Mayfield got traded finally. This was a long time coming, Scotty, and I got the news.
Well, it's about time.
I got the news when I think I was in the Dublin airport, and when I saw it, because it's been narrowed down to just two teams, it's not like this was. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's not like this was this hot, like a sweepstakes. You know,
It's not a hot market for Baker Mayfield. You know,
it's not, and that's for many reasons. One of which is that
yeah,
the structure of
a
the
quarterback.
How do you want to do this conversation? Because because I don't really want to get into like a whole thing. I'm feeling fine about this.
It's not a thing. I feel like it's good if I could get in a little jab and then you keep going. But you know, that's how I want to do it. Keep talking. Go listen to me.
Anyway, when I got the news, it was underwhelming, and I was relieved, but I didn't really I didn't feel a lot. I'm kind of numb to the situation in general because I've just tried to like ignore as much of it as possible. I think that last time we talked, I might have even said that I would have hoped for him to go to the Seahawks, just because of the Pete Carroll, not connection because they don't have a connection, but the Pete Carroll thing, and I think he's a better like he's college-ish type coach or whatever. It's a culture thing, and I think that Baker's. Well, now I'm kind of going into like where he landed. So he went to the Panthers, right? Traded for a fifth round pick, conditional, could be a fourth, depending on his playing time. The Browns are eating a good bit of the contract. He also took a pay cut. The Baker did to like it's a restructuring thing. A lot of the money that he'll get with the Panthers is a lot of its incentives. So his guaranteed money came down. You make of that what you will, but I don't know. We can kind of get into the not the nuts and bolts because that's the situation. We can kind of get into like the impact if we think there will be one, how we think they'll do, blah blah blah. But I'm just kind of relieved that this was going to happen. It had to happen, and it happened. And I'm ready to just like close the door behind us. Of course, we play them week 1, so it's like it's actually going to last for several more months. But that's how I'm feeling about it, just from the non-football perspective.
It is very fitting they play week 1. And that part makes it like you know, not that I think that this stuff is playing out way ahead in advance, but man, what an amazing coincidence. I will say this. I will say that I do believe that the Panthers are a better team with Baker Mayfield on it as the starting quarterback over Sam Darnold, easily. Now, do I think that the Panthers now are all of a sudden a playoff contender? Absolutely, not a chance. I think that from like I don't know, maybe like a fantasy perspective, I would say Christian McCaffrey's value is a little bit higher now because he had like you know Baker Mayfield doing like the rollout, you know, little dump pass, whatever. Like that's going to happen a lot because that's all he can really do. Yeah, see. But so I think it's good that it was resolved. It's good that Cleveland now they've all parted ways. He's going for a team where he'll be a starter. He's got a good chance to, hey, you know, he can prove himself and he can be the guy, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's gonna.
That's another question, but yeah, okay.
You're right, but I'm glad he wound up in a good spot. He's gonna look really bad in those colors, the little baby blue. So I don't see Baker as a Panther. Like he would look way better as a Seahawk, I think. You know, just like his picture in the jersey, like, he just doesn't his personality. He just doesn't seem like the Panther type. You know. So I mean I don't know. But
Well, hold on a second. Pre-draft, I wouldn't have said he looks like a Brown. I mean,
what would you have said that he looked like pre-draft?
oh, that's a wonderful question.
Or even just any, you put him on any team right now, what would he look like he belongs? Where does he look like he belongs?
What a question. I love that question. I wish I had a good answer for it. I think where my head naturally goes is Arizona because the colors are so close to Oklahoma.
Mm.
Um, but after 4 years in the brown and orange, man, I don't know. I don't know where the hell
I think
I don't know where the hell he belongs. Back in Oklahoma, I guess.
I think to me, and I'm just thinking about this as much as you are right now. I could see him as an Oakland Raider. He seems like a Raider quarterback. You know what I mean?
Okay, but that's more in personality, not in appearance. I think I was thinking appearance.
Certainly. Well, a little both. I mean, he looks like a dude. I don't know.
He looks like a dude.
He looks like a dude. Either way, I do. I just want to say I do find it very interesting that looking back on the 2018 draft now, that the Carolina Panthers have the number one and number two
Mm-hmm.
or three
Three,
overall
three.
pick. Yeah, overall pick. Yeah, number one, number three overall pick in that draft in their quarterback room, and I think it's pretty clear now that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were definitely the two best quarterbacks in that draft, and it's pretty obvious now that Darnold, Mayfield, and Rosen, who were taken 1, 2, 3, were not. So
You mean 1-3-10 or 1-3-7?
Whatever. In terms of quarterbacks, they were taken 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think right now that's correct.
The draft graders really should get an F on that draft. I think
it's so different. Listen, I'm not about to sit here and say and argue that point because the numbers speak for themselves, the results speak for themselves. But I think so often what people don't appreciate are the real life effects of scenarios people are put in. I mean, Sam Darnold was drafted by Adam Gase, okay, who's like gone and deserves to be gone. And even if he wasn't drafted by Gase, he was drafted by Todd Bowles. Or it's the Jets. It's a dysfunctional team, and it's never had a good talent around them, and still doesn't. At least the Browns, the rest of the roster got a bit stronger over that time since they drafted Baker. But Baker was drafted into a terrible front office. It was Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchen. I mean, he's never had like back-to-back seasons with like the same head coach. I mean, it's been chaotic and rocky, and neither one of those quarterbacks. And again, I'm not making excuses for them, but neither one of those quarterbacks has ever been set up to be successful. They've had to do it all on their own if they were going to do it. And that's a really hard thing to do. I mean, Josh Rosen, that's even a little bit of a different scenario because after 1 year, Kingsbury just said, no, we're gonna get Murray, and that's it. Regardless of how well you think Rosen did that year. But I guess my only point in saying is that, yes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, but again, like Lamar Jackson went to the Ravens at the end of that draft. The Ravens, whatever you think of them, I mean, they're Steelers-esque in that they've had the same coach for over 10-plus years. It's the same front office, Ozzie Newsome, like these people drafting and building they're team builders. They're not still trying to figure that bit out. They're just trying to land the star, larger-than-life talent players.
I guess to summarize what you're saying, please correct me if I'm wrong. It is very important, probably for the first few years of a young quarterback's career, to have a really stable, consistent, good, quality development track in order for them to have sustained success going forward. Right?
Yeah, I think it's no surprise at all that Aaron Rodgers has been good because he was drafted by a great organization. a football team building organization. He sat for 3 to 4 years under a Hall of Fame quarterback, and then he took over and is had a Hall of Fame career himself. Like that's not that surprising. Like he still had to go do it. He still had to play and still had to be great. Certainly not taking anything away, but I would rather be like a Jordan Love than a Sam Darnold on draft day.
Sure.
Like
so you're saying if you didn't kind of grow up in a good system, there was a lot of turnover, a lot of change, a lot of issues, a lot of bad management, whatever, off the field issues, bad rosters, all that stuff. How good do you feel about Deshaun Watson now being your quarterback? Because he arguably had the same type of a turmoil. I mean, Bill O'Brien, had some issues. There was some roster problems there. They didn't have a good squad. They didn't have all those types of things. He hasn't played for a full season. He might not play for maybe at least a quarter to whatever of a season this year. Like, how do you feel now based on that? Like, he's a young quarterback that they gave up a lot for, and he's had some of those same challenges that you're saying that a lot of those other quarterbacks had when they got developed. So how do you feel about that?
That's a fair point, but what I would say is that even in spite of all those things, Deshaun Watson still played well and was good. I mean, he won in spite of that organization. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a long time ago now, before all the drama and scandal and all that stuff rocked his life and the aura around him. But the last memory, before any of this stuff, the last memory we had of Deshaun Watson was him and TJ Watt walking off the field on a hot mic, TJ saying, "I'm so sorry we wasted another year of your career." Like he's that was the last thing that happened to Deshaun Watson that we remember, because the Texans
went 4-12.
They were horrible, but his numbers were really good. Their defense was shit. They had no special players other than him at quarterback. Even TJ Watt then was on the tail end of his career. So I keep saying TJ, yes, JJ. Hey, honestly, they can both kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry about all the cars passing by on the street here, but we're just going to have to deal with it.
I don't hear them on my side.
I know, but I think in the recording we will. But if they don't, great. Then, you can ignore that. But anyway, that's what I would say about that. I think that, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think Bill O'Brien is a good coach, but a bad GM. I mean, he had the full reins there. He had both.
Yeah.
And that's not a common thing. Bill Belichick's like the only one. And not even John Gruden when he was in Oakland. So I think Bill O'Brien could coach a football team and have like be competitive in games, but the trades that he did, the contracts that he did, it all fell apart. I mean,
where's he at now?
I think he's in Alabama. I think he's the offensive coordinator at Alabama. Of course he is. Of course he is.
Of course.
So anyway, okay. So going back to Baker and with the Panthers now that the dust has settled, the new chapters are being written. I agree with you that the Panthers are a better team today with Baker rather than Darnold. I also don't think that they are a playoff team now. They do have a decent young defense. I don't know anything about their offensive line. I know just because of fantasy, I know they've got some talented playmakers around them. But the reason that I am, whatever last vestiges I have tied to Baker, and listen, the Browns' legacy as a team will always have a Baker chapter. That's a part of the deal. And this trade certainly will be a part of that. But the reason I am a little bit I don't know what the right word is, disappointed, bummed, whatever for Baker. Again, now I've got no allegiances to him. Like whatever. It's that he is still only on the last year of his contract. He's basically playing. He's playing this year for an extension. If he doesn't do well, he won't get re-signed. If he plays just okay, but the team does poorly, Matt Rule's going to be out of there. So let's say that they franchise tag Baker. It's not very common for a quarterback to be franchise tagged. Let's say Baker plays well enough that he wasn't the reason they lost. let's say they even keep him around, they're still going to have a change in leadership. So there's another year of just instability. So like he's not the only way that Baker has any longevity with the Panthers is if because of the situation that's around him, is if he is a difference maker for the team in some way. They don't have to make the playoffs. They don't have to, even have a winning record necessarily, but they have to be in every game. They have to have a chance. They either have to win 8 games, which is still a losing record, or they have to be like one of those teams that, like, man, if a field goal went the other way, they would have a wildly different season. But that's the only way. And do I think he can do it? Do I think a healthy Baker Mayfield with this team around him? I mean, he's got one of the best running backs in the game. I think he could do it, but it's put up or shut up time, man. And if I were him, I would be stressed. I'd be stressed.
Yeah. This is the this is the type of thing that I want to say that you're going to get all upset about. But I think in 3 years, because of all the things you just said, in 3 years, Baker Mayfield probably won't even be in the NFL anymore, because I don't think that he's a good backup type of a quarterback. Maybe he is. Maybe he could be a leader and an educator and like fill in. He could like serve a backup role. But I think, unfortunately, he's been put in a position where success is very unlikely from just because of all the dynamics of the Panther system. As you said, Matt Rule's going to be out, so the new people that are going to come in are going to want to start fresh with a drafted quarterback. They're going to bring in their own people. Like he's not in a good spot to succeed long term. And unfortunately, Baker Mayfield's skill set, even when healthy, he's a decent, good, average quarterback. But in the NFL, you need someone to be an elite guy.
I don't know.
You need some.
Sorry, I didn't mean to catch you. Finish thought. I'm so sorry.
He'll be best case scenario. He'll be a Ryan Tannehill type of situation where he'll go to another team. Maybe maybe there's a team out there next season that will exist that like I'm thinking like, I don't know, like a pre-Kirk Cousins Vikings, where it's like, oh, we got a great roster. All we need is a quarterback that's not going to lose games for us. Baker can fill that hole, and he'll be okay there next season. Maybe he'll go there. That'll be what happens. But like, absent of that, I just don't see him being. He's not going to be the franchise guy anywhere now, And that's
what I hear you saying. Well, okay, would you say Kirk Cousins is a franchise guy?
Well, he was for a while for the Vikings.
He's still
there. They
invested.
That's what I mean. They gave him what, like 6 years guaranteed. What?
Well, okay, let me ask you something. When you say franchise,
when I say
yes,
let me. Well, I think you're going to ask me, what does that mean? I want to just explain to you real quick. All it means is
to you.
Teams, to me, what a franchise guy means is that the organization says, we are going to commit to you long term, 5 years guaranteed money or whatever. Like you are our guy. That is what I mean by the franchise quarterback, not like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame guy. I mean, like, the organization believes that the quarterback, the most important position in the league, you are our person to take us to where we want to go over the next 3 to 5 years. That's what I mean by franchise quarterback. That's why I never think Cam Newton, last 2 years, not a franchise quarterback. Now Baker Mayfield, unfortunately, is going to be in the same realm. Ryan Tannehill, I even would say that now is not considered a franchise quarterback. Fitzpatrick wasn't that way.
Tannehill got 4 years. Cousins got just as much, maybe more.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Cousins was the franchise quarterback.
Well, why are you saying was? He's still in that contract. He still is.
Well, I know, but I think if you ask anyone now, unfortunately, they didn't pan out the way they wanted to.
But that's not what they
were hoping.
But it can't be a moving scale, though. That's all I'm trying to say.
It's not a moving scale. The contract really defines the franchise quarterback aspect, okay? And so I don't think Baker's not gonna go unless if he goes out and lights it up this year, which I find highly unlikely. I don't think that the Panthers or anyone else is gonna say, all right, I want this guy for 5 years.
No,
I can build a team right.
Why do you think it's highly unlikely? Is it unlikely? I might even give you that. But why do you think it's highly unlikely? It's not like It's not like he's never had success. He has.
I understand, but here's the thing: Cleveland has a fantastic roster. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Most would.
most would, right? So Cleveland has a very top to bottom offense, defense, every element, at least every positional category, B grade or higher, most likely,
Okay.
right? Which is a good roster. He the year before last, he took the team to a playoff win. They played against the Chiefs. It was cool. Last year, clearly the injury is the scapegoat, and I'm not saying it's an unfair scapegoat. He was hurt, whatever. But he did not take that roster. He didn't improve the He didn't improve the roster. They did significantly worse last year than they did the year before. They did not. They did not. Now they're
Significantly worse. I mean, they were in the hunt until the last week of the season for the playoffs.
Yeah, but
And also, what I also wanted to say was his rookie year, he played really well. I mean, he set the rookie passing touchdown record with like 3 fewer games than a regular season lasts. Like, he's had 2 good seasons. And that first season, his rookie year, that was a Hugh Jackson year. So, like, the team wasn't where it is now. So, like, I'm not. You're not totally wrong, but I will just say, Baker has had more success. Like, was he worth the first overall pick of the draft based on what he's done? No, of course not. I mean, that's not the expectation. But was he?
no.
Has he shown the ability to play football at a very, very high level and have success and make some players around him a little bit better? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think that's out of the. I don't think that's unfair to say. Now, is he going to immediately take Deshaun Watson? Let's say all the off-field drama was not around. Based on skill, ability, things you've seen before, I think everybody would say that Cleveland is scary. Cleveland can actually really contend. So we're talking about like a difference of tier. So I would agree with you. And Deshaun was like drafted in like the 10th overall or something like that. So it's like not like
so. Yeah.
So I would agree with you to a degree, but again, like there's a lot we have to see the on-field product. I mean, I know I don't have any faith in Matt Rule. I don't believe in that organization, but I mean they've been dealing with Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold. Like they haven't had anybody that they've. I don't think they've ever had anybody that they feel comfortable saying, you know what, I'll push all my chips in, and I don't know if it's going to work out, but I can at least go with it. Like I think they can do that with Baker, because he's got some prestige and some. Sam Darnold's never proved anything. That was never going to work. I mean, from the second that trade happened with the Jets, everybody knew that was never going to work.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was incredibly smart for the Panthers to go out and get Baker Mayfield. Out of all the options they had going in for quarterback this season, Baker Mayfield was the best one. They didn't give up too much to get him. It is a really safe, good, quality, situation to go into. All I'm trying to say is that in the NFL, as you know, performance and skill and reputation, all those things, when it comes to being the guy at the quarterback position for a team, it's going to be very difficult for Baker Mayfield to succeed. Most of it might not even be his fault. I don't think this Panthers team, is going to be very good for him to play on. And hopefully they can have good schemes and have good plays where he can find some success. But I just have a really good prediction in my mind. I don't know, that he's going to go out. It won't even be his own fault. He's just going to go out there. He'll be kind of ho-hum. They're going to lose most of their games. Maybe he'll get hurt again if the line stinks or whatever, and that's going to be it. No one else is going to give him a chance, unfortunately, and that's probably not even fair to him. I think if he was put on another team.
The only reason I might agree with you, the only reason, is because where his contract sits. Like if he had 2 more years, I could see them playing this year, maybe not being happy with it, and then think about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is still a starting quarterback after however long. So we talked about before, you're in 2 years he'll be out of the NFL. Well, a lot of people probably would have said that about Carson Wentz, but he's become one of these guys that is a good quarterback that can kind of play the role of maybe he's a team, maybe he's a savior for a team, or like maybe he just needs the right situation. Carson Wentz is very much that right now, but I think Carson Wentz's contracts have lined up well so that he's never been in a position where, like, if Baker comes out and sucks, he's going to be looking for, like, he's not going to have a lot of what is it, power, like
option. Yeah,
he's not going to have a lot of options. Leverage. That's what it is. So again, if he believes in himself, he's one of those guys that, like, now I'm making some assumptions about his character, but he seems to me to be one of those guys that when his back's against the wall, he's going to do all the right. He's not going to, like, blow off workouts, like off-season workouts. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to take cheat days. He doesn't seem like that kind of a person when it's all on the line. Like, you know.
Well, so if you really want to go into his personality,
I'm talking about things I don't actually really know, so I understand that.
So let me do the same thing here for a sec. I agree with you that he's not the person to lose motivation by, like, slacking off because he doesn't think he's going to do well. What he will do, though, and this is my perception of his personality, he is a winner first, and when he doesn't win, I don't think he's going to, like, do less but continue down the path. He's just going to do something completely different. Like, I really feel like if he doesn't find success in the NFL, he's the type of personality that is going to go off and do something different. Like, go podcast, or he'll do, like, you know what I mean? Like, he'll just be like, you know, screw it. Because that's
Scotty,
why I feel like
the college football Sundays.
Exactly. Right. You know, he'll be like in Oklahoma. He'll be like on Oklahoma tonight making millions of dollars because he does strike me as a guy that doesn't like to lose. So he'd rather than, like, just be a backup quarterback forever, he'll go be the guy in whatever field he wants to explore. I do foresee that's why when I say I don't think he'll be in the NFL for 3 years from now, I don't think it's because he'll be a failure. I think it's just going to decide, you know what, I'm going to go do something else and be successful in that. You know?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Well, all right. Well, I guess, and we'll talk about it all again on after week 1, September 7th.
Week 1, baby. That's right.
He just demanded a new topic. Well, what is the new topic, Scotty? Go ahead. What is it?
Well, I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have my good computer set up, so I don't have the command center that I normally do. I will feel and come across as way less informed as I'm normally doing these podcasts.
It sounds sounds like an excuse.
A little bit.
I don't know if I appreciate that necessarily.
I understand.
Well, okay. So I guess what we can do, the MLB All-Star rosters came out. So the 2022 All-Star game is upon us. Do you know when the game actually is, Scotty?
Yes, it is Tuesday, July 19th.
Okay, so we're a week out. So a week from today.
Yeah, next week.
Excellent. Yep. Well, I figured maybe what we could do is I could just kind of stroll through the starters for each, you know, the AL, the NL, and you can just, I don't know, maybe just say whether you think they should be there or not. What do you think?
I think we could try it.
Do they deserve it? Do they not deserve it? Let's start. Yeah, go ahead.
The All-Star game in particular is always a popularity contest, so I will just say that. Like,
okay, hold on a minute. Go a little further.
Hold on a minute. Go a little further. That's very contradictory.
Well, wait a minute. Tell me more.
Well, I mean, the voting starts for the All-Star game in, like, May. So there's literally been one season of baseball, or one month of baseball in the season. You know what I mean? So, like, there's not even enough time to know who is when you decide and when you vote on who is an All-Star. You're not really voting on who's the best players right now. You're voting on who you know the most. You know what I mean? Like who's the guy for your team? Like, who, you know, you're voting on last year's performance.
Who's this?
It's
you?
Not really.
Who is this? You?
Well,
who votes on it? How do people get chosen for the All-Star game? Is it the baseball writer
It,
shit again?
no, it is the literal popular vote by fans, and each person, based on email address, has 25 votes to cast. And so it is legit a popularity contest by fans. And there's even ballots in baseball ballparks where you can fill it out and throw it in a box and they'll count it too. It is literally all fan voted. So it is truly a popularity contest.
So is it this feels like it's somewhat meaningless.
It absolutely is. Now,
Why
I would
would
say
they do it that way?
I don't because it gets people interested. It does promote a lot of like I would say maybe positive tribalism. Like for example, the Pirates they got nothing to root for this year, right? Whatever. But like, man, would it be cool if Brian Hayes was the starting third baseman for the All-Star game? Pirates fans, get out there and vote for Brian Hayes. Like, it helps with the advertising and the marketing, and it's like hey, like let's get our star guy to be an All-Star, and
All that does
that's
is
how
just
that kind
it's just a tool to drive engagement. That's what it really is.
that's what the whole world's about, man.
Thanks, Scotty. I know. I was hoping that this would actually be like, oh, this year, these are the best players that the game has
That's
to
not how it
offer.
works.
Yeah, well, I know
That's not how it works.
Do you agree that should be how it works? Do you like the way this is?
Um,
This whole positive tribalism BS. I don't buy that.
I wouldn't say that I like how it works exactly, but I don't know. I think I can't point to any other league that does it any better than this. I mean, at the very least, it's like, okay, at least fans have a say and can participate. But it's just I don't know. I mean, how
As much as we rail against the Hall of Fame voting, I at least can convince myself that those people know a bit about baseball and know who's good and who's not. With this, Salvador Perez. I don't know anything about him. I don't know if he's good, but he's on here. First of all, I disagree with the notion that every team gets at least one All-Star. It's a ridiculous.
Right.
It's a ridiculous thing to me because why?
Yeah.
Like what purpose does the All-Star game serve if not to display the best there is this year? That you're telling me, and by design, it is not that way. It is to give the fans what they want, I suppose, and in order to get as many people watching as possible, we'll sprinkle in at least one guy from your team so you have something to watch.
Everyone gets a trophy. Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. Well, that's the world we live in, my bro.
My bro.
My bro. Yeah.
All right.
Salvador Perez. Where do you see that at?
Oh, he's the catcher for the AL. He's the starting catcher. Batting .235, 27 homers.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure the catcher for the American League is Alejandro Kirk.
Pretty sure you'd be wrong.
Are you looking at this year's roster?
I must not be because Trevor Bauer's on here. Oh, we have a sports show.
Alejandro Kirk is the starting catcher for the American League. He plays for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's currently batting a .309, 10 home runs, 33 RBIs. Not too bad.
My links are all disheveled. What is this nonsense?
Oh,
It doesn't matter. All right, who cares? Alejandro Kirk, Toronto. Yeah, they've lost. They're 1-9 in their last 10. My gosh, Toronto shit in the bed. Letting the Yankees just have everything. Meanwhile, the Orioles. You see the Orioles? They're the hottest team in baseball right now.
Right?
They're 8-2 in the last 10.
In the last 10?
I mean,
okay, what's their overall?
They're not doing
Any
well.
team,
But
any team can get hot. That's what is fun about baseball, and this is what is actually kind of fun following a baseball team throughout the year. Is that when they do get hot, it's kind of fun to watch because it's like, oh man, they're all firing all cylinders. And then it falls apart, and then you're kind of bad again.
Yeah. I do.
That's how.
Being Pirates adjacent, I do understand that.
So that's why you need a long season because
No,
if you have a
no, no. I'm not
2 month
getting.
long
No, no.
season,
Hold on a minute. I'm not getting
team
into this
gets
with you.
hot,
That's not the
team gets
reason.
hot. I mean, all of a sudden the Orioles in the playoffs, but even though they're terrible, but they're 8-2 in the last 10. So they won games.
I've already been through this. You know that's a ridiculous notion. It
I
doesn't
think
matter. Baltimore, all of a sudden, they're 43 and 44. They're solidly in the mix. The next best team. Did I just lose your audio? The next best team after the Yankees in the AL East is Boston, 47 and 40. So Baltimore's like 4 games out from second place in the division.
hey,
Now you're freezing a little bit. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Well, Scotty's dead.
can you hear me?
Oh, hey, you're back.
No, I can hear you. I've been hearing you the whole time. You've looked frozen on the camera though.
Yeah, I was frozen, but I think the audio is going to pick me up. Anyway, I was saying Baltimore's only 4 games back from being behind the Yankees in the division.
Right, and for Baltimore, that's fantastic because they've been really the bottom of the barrel
Dog shit.
in all of MLB for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seattle. Too.
All right. Well.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, the A's. You know what? Didn't Ohtani win the MVP last year?
AL MVP.
Isn't that absurd?
Well, why? Why is that absurd? He's deserving of it
Why?
because he was the best player in baseball in the American League last year.
How so?
He was fantastic behind the plate, and also was a pretty decent pitcher too. And that, to me, is very valuable.
They lost. They're a losing team.
So for you, the most valuable player should be on a team that has success. Like
There are two ways
know,
to look at it. There are 2 ways to look at the MVP.
Right.
There's one is that, okay, they're the best player in the sport. They are the best. And there are different ways to grade that. The other way is on an individual team, which player has the most impact to whether they succeed or fail. And you can have an amazing player on a bad team, I guess, be an MVP type of person because without them they would be even way worse. But it doesn't something doesn't feel right or natural about having the MVP of the whole American League be on a team that doesn't even sniff the playoffs. It's like at least Aaron Rodgers. Like he didn't go to the Super Bowl. He didn't win the Super Bowl, but he made a deepish playoff run. And football's a different kind of sport. But like the Packers were very, very much in contention. I mean, many people had them as like going all the way. No one has the Angels as that, and they've got Mike Trout, who's like the best pure baseball player, like of his position anyway. Like he's like an all-American kind of guy. So like, why would just because he can do both, and he's not the best pitcher in the league. He's a good enough starting, but he's good enough to be in the rotation, and he also hits really well. It's very rare. It's very uncommon. It does not even exist anywhere else in the league. It's a very cool thing. I completely agree. I love Ohtani. Be on the cover of MLB The Show. Do all these. Have a spotlight. But to be named the MVP of the league and your team's garbage, that's totally fine with you? Nothing feels weird about that?
It feels weird, but it is still fine with me. And I will explain it in this way. Baseball is a very different sport. I mean, obviously all sports are different. But hold on. When it comes to the NBA, when it comes to the NHL, when it comes to even the NFL, I do agree. MVPs are always the best player on generally one of the best teams. It's like if you take a top 4 or 5 team in all those sports, and if there was one player that's like, oh yeah, they definitely got there because of this person, you're going to get the MVP, and that's the way it should be for sure. But in baseball, with the rosters being as big as they are, with the amount of games they play, and the amount of actual statistics that are revered in a different way than any other sport. Because like the batting average and the amount of home runs and the RBIs and the wins over replacement, all that type of stuff. There's a little bit more quantifiable evidence that this one person is the best player in the sport. He is the most valuable player. And I would also argue you could maybe call this award sometimes the most marketable player too. And it's the person that, even if it's on a bad team, it's someone that the MLB wants to really push as like a marketable star. Hold on. So there are more metrics that will allow someone on a team that you could literally say, Bryce Harper last year. Bryce Harper won the MVP for the National League, right? Because there are also 2 MVPs every year in baseball, which people often sometimes forget. Bryce Harper won. Phillies didn't make the playoffs, but my God, if he wasn't on the team, they wouldn't even have been anywhere close. You know what I mean? Like he was literally the best player in the National League last year. He bat like a 335. He had tons of home runs. He was the leader of the team. He was the most valuable player, the one player. His team didn't have success because there's a lot of things that go into baseball. Whereas like a sport like the NBA, if Giannis, he's gonna if he plays at an MVP caliber, the team's gonna be inherently good because there's only 5 other dudes in the court or 4 other dudes in the court at the same time. You know what I mean? In baseball, there's a lot more nuance, a lot more variation that will allow for teams to maybe not be successful, but you still have the best player on it. So I don't think that. All I'm saying is I don't think that it's inherently wrong that a team that doesn't make the playoffs has an MVP player on it and gets awarded the MVP. Would you want it to? Absolutely, but I don't think it's like disqualify. It shouldn't disqualify you. You shouldn't. If you bat, if you're leading in the Triple Crown categories and your team doesn't make the playoffs, you shouldn't be automatically eliminated from the MVP consideration. Whereas other sports, I think there probably might be some arguments more in that favor. You know what I mean? That's all. That's all I'm really trying to say.
Well, I disagree completely with the marketable aspect because as much as I love him, Ohtani is not who MLB wants to be. The guy who's pitching and hitting as well as he's not the most marketable player. He's just not. I mean that's a very like businessy take. Like it's marketing. It's what will drive.
I would argue differently there because he is helping enhance the international markets.
That's not where they make the most money.
Well, they could try to, like
they could try, but that's not. I mean, if you. It doesn't matter. That's not even my larger point. The other thing, the main point is that, and I guess this isn't the hill I'm going to die on. I understand everything you're saying and all of the stats that stats are stats. People decide what stats are important and whatnot. So, but the most if you're talking about total, if you're talking about value, it should be if you take this player, pick them off of their team and put them on any other team, they immediately make them. It's like they elevate. It's another. It's like they should be competing for something. They are if you take Ohtani and put him on the Red Sox, would he be one of their starting pitchers? And where would he fit?
Yeah, he would absolutely, and he would be playing every day, and at least as a DH. I mean, he would be that. That's what MVPs are. MVPs are that. Now the difference is that baseball, because of just how big the rosters are and the differences in starting pitchers and bullpens and the team dynamics and what makes a truly successful team. One person can't influence that any more than, well, that's what wins above replacement are. Any more than maybe 10 games. That might put you in the playoffs, might not. You know what I mean? Like, one person putting them on the team will not be by itself the difference maker in terms of the team being elite or not. You have, like, in baseball, you really have to put a full team together in all elements to the game. You know what I mean? That's what the war is. It's how many wins will you get by having this player over just the average player in that position, And even the best players have a war of like 10, which is great, but that's still only 10 wins more than just a normal guy. You know what I mean?
I don't like that stat.
Well, that is a very heavily utilized statistic.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's assuming a lot of things.
It's not assuming anything. It is literally math. It is.
No, it's not. There's so much that goes into someone's performance in any given game.
But the actual
these aren't robots out here. They're just tossing out there on a mound, and they're going to perform.
They're a little bit.
No, they're methodical. They're calculated. They have a system and a routine, but they're not robots. They're human beings. They've got feelings and emotions. They take in sights and sounds. They play in different kinds of weather. They play in different kinds of. I mean, how lighting and shadows and umpires and there's way more that. I'm not saying it's not valuable. I'm just saying that like something that wins above replacement. You say, oh, this guy had so many wins. This guy had so many wins. Okay, well if you had swapped teams.
That's not how that's calculated. That's not about the amount of wins they have as a team.
I'm speaking off the cuff. You know what I'm saying?
You're speaking. I think what you're saying is you're speaking out of ignorance of the statistic.
The All-Star game.
All-Star game.
We're running out of time.
You excited
here.
for it?
Probably won't watch it.
Yeah, me neither.
What I watch is the home run derby, and they've killed it. They've destroyed it.
Yeah, it's not been.
Tell me good news about who's in the All-Star game. We're going to see Aaron Judge out there? No.
I don't know.
We're going to see Mike Trout out there? No. We're going to see Stanton out there? No. Machado? No. Who's in the All-Star game or the home run derby?
Pete Alonso.
Oh, jeez, really? That's the only thing Pete Alonso's got going for him. Is he still a Met?
Exactly. He is still a Met.
Get the hell out of here,
him.
Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso is. I think Juan Soto is. But the person that I'm rooting for is the Phillies' new this season. The Phillies' new outfielder, Kyle Schwarber. Well, Schwarbs is out there.
Schwarby's out there.
Dingers. Yeah, he's out there going to be hitting dingers, and I'm all about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
The home run derby's dead.
So it has been.
I'm actively
really.
I'm actively clicking a link that's its title is Schwarber joins a power-packed home run derby. I'm going to read who is in this. You've already mentioned the polar bear, Pete Alonso. It's ridiculous. Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Braves. Pujols is doing it?
Yeah, Pujols is going to be in again. That's
a
farewell.
Gosh.
It's a farewell thing for him.
Soto,
he won't make it out of the first time.
Schwarber, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you remember back in the day? I'm gonna do something randomly here. This is unprecedented for the pod. I'm gonna look up 1998 home run derby.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Hold on a minute. This is totally at random. You might have to filibuster for me because this.
Oh my gosh, it's probably Ken Griffey Jr., Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Like '98 was the home run year. That was when wasn't that the year that McGwire and Sosa did the. This is the middle of the PED era too. This is probably the worst year to choose because everyone's steroided up.
No.
All right,
okay. And in the National League. In the National League, you got Vinny Castilla,
Okay.
Moises Alou,
Moises Alou. Yes.
Javi Lopez,
Javi Lopez.
Mark McGuire, and Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That was a
in
good
the
time.
American League, you got Damian Easley,
Okay.
Rafael Palmeiro,
Oh, yeah.
Alex Rodriguez,
Hey, Rod.
Ken Griffey Jr., and
Uh-huh.
Jim Thome. I mean, are you kidding me?
That was the man.
Give me another year, pre 2005.
Let's do the year 2000.
All right, 2 years later, 2000.
I
You
think Barry
got
Bonds will be there.
you got Ivan Rodriguez.
Well, Ivan Rodriguez,
Uh,
Pudge.
Yep, Vladimir Guerrero,
Oh yeah.
Chipper
No
Jones,
gloves.
Chipper Jones again. Edgar Martinez,
Yeah.
Carl Everett,
Okay.
Carlos Delgado, and Ken Griffey Jr. And Sammy Sosa.
And
I
Sam,
mean, my gosh,
they
Sammy won
had
that
the
year.
stars.
Yeah,
They
it's
had the
packed,
stars.
packed. And I'll get
It
here's what I'm
was
gonna do. I'm gonna give you 2019.
uh,
No, I don't even want to do that because, well, okay, fine. Matt Chapman,
I don't know who
Vlad
he is now.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.,
Okay.
Alex
You think he won that year?
Alex Bregman,
Who?
Jock Peterson,
Uh,
Josh Bell, Asuna
yeah,
Jr.,
right?
Pete Alonso, and Carlos Santana. I mean, it's become a joke.
That's a joke.
I mean,
They don't have the best players in there. You need Giancarlo Stan. You need Aaron Judge. You need the guy. But here's the reason. But like I remember, and I think this happened. And I really I don't. It's they have not made this official, but back when it really did take a turn. I remember for the Phillies, Bobby Abreu back in 2005 or 2004. That dude was crushing homers all season long. He wins the home run derby, hitting like 42 home runs. He didn't hit a single home run. I think the rest of his entire career. Like the amount of like what it changes to your swing after you do that. That spooked people. That really did. It really did.
okay. So 2005, Abreu's last ride.
Yeah.
He did in fact destroy the whole competition.
He won.
Oh yeah, he won. And so along with Andrew Jones,
A good player.
Hee-Seop Choi, Carlos
Oh yeah.
Lee, Jason
Uh-huh.
Bay, Mark Teixeira, David Ortiz, and Pudge Rodriguez. I mean,
Those are
those are
superstars. Those were the
superstars.
yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So will I watch?
My favorite.
Hmm.
You should watch my favorite home run derby of all time was 2006, my senior year of high school. It was in PNC Park,
Of
right
course, of
in here in
course.
Pittsburgh, and Ryan Howard won the home run derby. And one of his last home runs, they had like a Pepsi sign out in left field, and if you hit the sign, some lucky fan won like $1 million, something like that. And one of his last home runs, he cranks it, hits that sign, all the lights go off. It was beautiful, and he was just hitting dingers into the pond. Yeah, it was no, it was Allegheny in the Allegheny River. I mean, he was crushing it. People were out there with boats. That was a great home run derby. And if they ever come back to Pittsburgh, I'm going to that show because that'd be fun.
That 2006, Ryan Howard, David Wright, Miguel Cabrera, David Ortiz, and Miguel Tejada. I mean,
That is a great home run
yeah,
derby.
it
And
is.
Ryan Howard, he won that as a rookie. He won Rookie of the Year that year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Either that or he won the MVP, one of the two. But man, that was what a year. Those were the days.
Well, listen,
That
man.
was 16 years ago. Hmm.
We did more reminiscing than talking about this one,
Yeah, that's
which
what
is
it should
fine
be.
with me. That's what you kind of get. But hey, you know what? I'll tune in just for you.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Is that enough for today? I think it is. I'm out of liquor.
It's yeah, it's been a podcast. My beer's empty too, so
All right. Good luck out there.